Today, folks, if you have a business with employees, if you understood and understand what PPP was, I think this is going to be your most valuable episode to date. Why? Because I've got Mark Sullivan and Josh Zaglowski. Is that how you say it?
You did say it right. Good job.
Mark Sullivan, CEO of ERC Specialists, and Josh Zaglowski, Chief of Business Development. I ran into in the course of business, and I said, man, I got to get you guys on my podcast because I got a shit ton of people listening that run businesses, have businesses, growing businesses. And I think everybody needs to know about this because a lot of people are not aware that there is a program out there. We're going to get into it, folks, but there's a program out there called Employee Retention. What's the C? Credit.
Yeah.
Employee retention credit. So a lot of you guys out there with a business, doesn't matter, if you have over 500 employees, full-time employees, you wouldn't qualify. It's for small business only. It's a bunch of money that's been put out there. Up to $400 billion is what they're estimating. But the problem is nobody's talking about it except for a few people. I have heard a few people talk about it, but very few. And I thought, man, let's get these guys on the freaking podcast because I need hundreds of thousands of people to hear this so we can go break the bank, tap into that budget and get paid. PPP, dude, a lot of people didn't get paid even though they heard about it. They tried. They ran out of money. In this case, there's no running out of money.
No.
And you want to get up on that mic, like talking to it like you're Barry White. Yeah. So there's no limit to it.
No, it's tax law. So it's not a program that's been funded. It's tax law, and the Federal Reserve will continue to write checks as long as someone qualifies.
So right now, if you're listening to this, I'd pull over or I would be paying close attention, get back to your office, get done with your workout and type this shit in. Matter of fact, the real ERC Specialists, plural, specialists.com. Remember that URL, the real ERC Specialists.com, because you go there to see if you qualify. You just answer a few questions, takes a few minutes. They ask you a few questions. If you qualify, someone's going to reach out to you and freaking process you, or it's automated.
Yeah, we tried to take someone from start to finish without any customer interaction. There really isn't a need. But if someone has questions on paperwork that needs to be uploaded or any other questions, then yes, you can talk to customer support.
Yeah, so you go to this website, find out if you qualify, answer some questions. If you do, it'll tell you, yeah, you got a couple $100,000 coming to you if you upload your paperwork and hit proceed. And it's that easy. Some people are thinking there's got to be bullshit involved.
Well, I think the biggest thing we always try to overcome is this is too good to be true. I mean, I'm sure right when you started the podcast, people were already Googling ERC credit, going to the irs.gov website. It's legitimate.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I already had a CPA on earlier today, and I asked him about it. Like, should people contact you? He goes, no, don't contact us, but it's real. We are seeing it.
Yeah.
So it's legit as hell, or I wouldn't even have you on the show. And not only that, I got a little money back. And what's crazy is someone else that told me about it. They ran through the whole business and said I didn't qualify because I didn't lose money in the shutdown. And they said, well, you don't qualify. So I said, okay. And then I met Eric and I'm like, we don't qualify, dude. We don't qualify. I was almost proud of it. Like, we don't qualify for that bullshit. But at the end of the day, he kept pestering me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, I don't qualify. And he said, well, let's just try. So I went to the link, I typed it in. You guys said, well, you do qualify. And then that showed me that you guys probably have a little more experience getting the shit done. How many people are out there like you trying to get people money back?
I would say legitimately 20, 30 companies.
Yeah, maybe. I actually don't know very many. I mean, I'm sure there's a few that can scale to the volume that we can scale to. Many CPAs can do it. Many accounting firms can do it. But to actually scale to the volume with your followers, they would get bottlenecked pretty quick. And that was the problem that we had with PPP, is lenders, like even Chase, they could not take the volume that was headed their way. It was a brand new program. This is a brand new program. And you mentioned that you've had misinformation. At some point in time, that information was probably accurate. When this program first came out with the CARES Act, this is a COVID relief fund program. PPP, other programs like this is the last remaining COVID relief fund program out there. When it first came out, you could not do PPP and ERC. So if your CPA told you several months ago, no, you don't qualify because you took PPP, they may have been accurate at that point. This was amended with the American Rescue Plan Act in December of 2020 to open it up to 2021 and increase the credit by about 5 times. Still a lot of misinformation about that, and some old information was out there. So Senate and the IRS actually tried to open it up. The intent of this program was to get tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars out to small business owners. That was the intent. You're not taking advantage of a loophole. This is a program with a certain intent. The problem is because it's a tax credit, a business owner like me would probably miss it if you're reading about it and think my CPA will take care of it. But this is not a yearly tax credit, meaning it's not in your CPA's lane. It is a quarterly payroll tax. Who does that with your business? QuickBooks, Gusto, ADP, these payroll software companies. And we're quite literally talking about a software program that doesn't automatically calculate this because it's not easy to calculate automatically. And so a lot of those payroll providers don't offer it, let alone tell you about it. So it has become our job to have advocates like you telling small business owners, Brad, what this program is and how to take advantage of it. And like Josh mentioned, our biggest obstacle is educating people and telling them that this is a legitimate credit that they can receive for their business.
Yeah, which is nuts because there's billions of dollars just sitting there and no one's applying for it, or very few people are applying for it.
Relatively very few. I mean, we've done about $500 million, $500 million in filed credits in about 3 months. We will probably end up at the end of the day filing about 10 billion in credits. Let's say this program has about 400 billion, as you mentioned, in terms of what can go out to small business. If we're talking to 10 businesses, maybe one out of 10 knows about this program. 9 out of 10, they might not have ever even heard the acronym ERC.
I would bet less because I've talked to a handful of my buddies and they're like, what is it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, apparently you can get some money back or credit, like 26 grand a person. So if you have 10 employees, that's like $250,000. Then it's just free money. You don't have to pay it back or anything. Like, what is it?
Yeah.
That's a good point, Josh.
And hardly anybody knew about it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. There's this gray area that people just don't know about it. You know, you said 1 out of 10. The other side is there's probably 2 out of 10 that know about it, but they don't know the newest amendments, like yourself. You know, they don't know that there's certain things that have changed with this program to make it better for the business owner. Like I always say, it's almost like a reward for businesses for retaining employees.
Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, that's why they've designed it.
So a lot of companies let their employees go. Mm-hmm. A lot of companies, powered through and kept them. Mm-hmm. What about if I fired half my staff? Did the other half qualify because I kept those?
Yeah, so this is where you don't want to try to guess what this program is and disqualify yourself. You brought up how they can actually go through the steps to qualify. Although this is a COVID relief program that has some ties to PPP in terms of it's based on wages, there's a lot of things that are different. For instance, you don't need to have retained an employee, even though it's a retention credit. You could have had an employee for 1 month and get up to 70% of those wages back in your pocket. This credit is massive. It's a maximum of $26,000 per employee. It applies to 2020 and 2021. It is not a loan, unlike PPP. That was a loan that you could easily get forgiven, but you don't even have to go down that process. Even a grant, which is typically the best money you can get from the government, a grant you have to report, or you might be boxed into what you can use those funds for. You do not need to do that with this. You can quite literally, as a business owner, put that into the books and pay yourself out a dividend or a distribution. And you don't need to pay that back. The simplest way to actually summarize what this is, it is a refund on W-2 wages that you have paid out as a business owner. Crazy.
So if you're listening to this, you have employees, or had even W-2, not 1099, folks. W-2. Like if you're out there subbing out everything, don't worry, doesn't work. But if you have a W-2 employee, one or up to 500, 499, which a lot of you do, just go to the real ERC Specialists.com, and there's a button there. And they'll ask you questions, see if you qualify. It takes about 5 minutes. If you do qualify, upload some documents, press proceed. Boom, dude. What's it take? 3 months to get paid?
So the IRS typically will take about 4 months to process an amended 941, which that's where this credit lies. It's on a tax form, a 941 payroll tax form. But they're getting bottlenecked. And so the urgency to do this is that we don't know if that's going to take 9 months, 1 year, or get extended out to 2 years with how backlogged the IRS is. So right now we're seeing times of 8 months. The good news about that is your listeners, business owners that go through this have nothing to lose. You can go through this process and wait for that credit, and you've never been asked for a credit card, no social security check, anything like that. No one gets paid here until you get the check.
Zero gimmicks. You're not getting spammed. They don't even want your name unless you're ready to proceed. Mm-hmm. But, in my mind, we got to tap into that dough.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why I said, dude, I need you on this podcast. Number one, I get a lot of entrepreneurs listening, but there's people out there that would just be cruising right along and not even know it. And who cares if it takes 10, 15 minutes to get the deal and it's 8 months away? It's 8 months, anticipation, because you'll tell them how much roughly they're getting, no?
Once they go through our process and upload documents, which the document process sounds overwhelming, but it's 2 documents, 941s and employee report, not very much. So once you take that 10 minutes of work, we need about 1 week, several business days, and we'll email you the exact credit that will be coming down the line.
Because you guys go do all the math and everything?
Yeah, we do all the math.
Yeah, to the penny. So we're actually filing those reports, the forms with the IRS, and it really just sits. The 8 months is not 8 months of work that we're doing. We can turn that around in about a week. We're just waiting on the IRS. But the exact credit, you'll initially get an estimate when they go through that process in about 10 minutes, and then they'll get the exact credit amount in about a week after that to review and approve.
And then when they agree, still no credit card. And then once they agree to that number to the penny, we're then filing it to the IRS, and we just can't control their backlog. Right now it's 6 to 8 months.
But again, no one's paying any money. This isn't a scam, folks. You're going to receive a check, 100%.
We only get paid if they get paid.
Yeah, so here's my question. So the IRS just sends them an actual check or a wire, and it's all lump sum money? There's no credit that, you just don't pay these taxes next year? It's money in your bank.
It's a great question. It is not a credit. It's not something that you're going to be debiting against and for the next 4 years I won't pay taxes. It's a refund check. It's refund on your wages paid, not taxes on those wages. You paid $100,000 in wages, you may be able to get 70 grand back in a refund check. And we've been doing this long enough. We're seeing those checks come in. The IRS is even paying interest on this because it was something that should have been filed several months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
How'd you guys discover it?
Well, Josh was kind of the main founder of it. How did you discover it, Josh?
Just being a business owner. I mean, that's kind of me and Mark's background. We've been entrepreneurs our whole life. And in April, the month after the first amendment happened, I saw the opportunity, not the opportunity, just like another stimulus package. Because during the pandemic, I was trying to call my city, my county, my state, where's all this free money? Someone told me about it. I saw it was from the IRS, the Treasury Department. And so I reached out to my CPA. I reached out to 2 more CPAs. And all 3 of them, no. Oh, and the third one finally told me it's a payroll credit. Well, your CPA doesn't do payroll. Okay, let me reach out to ADP, Gusto, Paychecks. No one could help me. So I looked at it as opportunity. And then kind of like the book, Who Not How, got the right who's around. When I talked to Mark, and he'll attest to this, he said the same thing 2 times.
I told him, no, I'm too busy with other things.
Yeah, he's just like, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
It took him our 3rd meeting when he was like, dude, this is actually a huge opportunity. Let's help thousands of companies. Now, I think our goal was 10,000 companies when we first got started. Now it's upwards of 80, 90,000.
Well, there's 23 million small businesses in America, isn't there?
Yeah.
Maybe some mom and pop single entrepreneurs, but there's still shit tons of businesses that were affected by COVID, and are being affected by COVID. What about like a restaurant that had to shut down? What if they're out of business?
Yeah, so there's no qualifications that they still need to be in business. I think one of that was with the Paycheck Protection Program, you needed to continue to intend to have business or something like that. That might have been with the SVOG grant, but no, it does not matter. You could have just had 1 month of W-2 wages during these 7 quarters, starting from Q2 2020, ending in Q3 2021. Any wages during those times, you can get a refund check back if you qualify. So you brought up a restaurant.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
nuts.
don't pay taxes on it, I'd assume.
No,
They don't consider it income, do they?
You're
it's a
not,
refund.
Yeah, it's a refund. You do need to reduce your payroll tax deduction on your taxes, but let your accountant worry about
Yeah,
that.
but that's what we always say. So we're not actually trying to take CPA's business either. Like we're just a vehicle because they do have to let their CPA or tax professional know how much they're getting back.
Yeah, they don't. The IRS doesn't say count it as income, but you have to. They'll tax you a little bit of it at the end of the day, but it's found money. Our average credit is $225,000 per company. This is big money, $26,000 per employee. So you have several employees. Do the math. You know, you're looking at potentially $100,000 or more credit. A refund check back to you to use for whatever your business needs it for.
Needs or wants, or like you said, you take it as the owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if it's
dividends.
If it's profit at the end of the day,
I mean, I
do whatever
talked
you
to
need.
a company last week, 2-3 weeks ago, a pizza joint. They're getting between 450, 60,000, and they want to open 2 more stores. So they're already thinking. That's what I love about it. You know.
Well, that's also the idea of it, isn't
Exactly.
it? It's like expansion.
So there's 2 things
Reward,
here.
stimulation.
Yeah. So let's speak to this. There's 2 parts to this credit. It's still within the same tax form. Businesses that started before February 15th, 2020, everything applies with the $26,000 max per employee and how you qualify for it. That applies everything we've been talking about now. But what if you started a business after February 15th, 2020? Typically with PPP, you couldn't qualify. This actually has what's called a new business startup credit under this ERC, same spot to file. And basically what it means is you started a business after that point, any payroll in Q3 or Q4 of 2021 can get a refund back up to a max of about $50,000 each quarter. So if you're a new business, you may be able to get $100,000 back for payroll that you spent in last year, the end of last year. So again, nothing to lose to go through that and just get a refund. They wanted to encourage new business startup with this as well.
So you discovered it because you were looking for some help. Hey, give me some credits. Where's all this free money I keep hearing about? Who told you?
Actually, another partner of ours told me about it because he was helping his dad with his payroll company. His dad is a physician, has 80 employees, and someone called him about it. And same thing. When he was talking about it, I'm sitting there Googling ERC credit, what? And seeing like, wait, this is IRS website. And just then it was still a little too good to be true. Called a couple of people, professionals as far as an attorney, CPA, and just kept on narrowing it down like this is real. But I didn't know about 400 billion at the time, you know, like the updated amendment about the supply chain disruptions. We didn't know that stuff at that time. We've evolved from there. You know, before it was like, oh, well, if you had a 20% decrease in revenue, you qualify. Well, in your case, you have made a lot of money, so you didn't qualify back then, right? And so that's where things
They keep changing it.
Yeah. Exactly. I think what's happened is you have so much misinformation because of legitimate changes with amendments, notices, clarifications.
Yeah.
This was actually amended as recently as December 2021 with the infrastructure bill.
Yeah. So folks, what they're saying is, even if you heard about this and this ain't news and you didn't qualify or take action, you better go, click the link and see if you qualify. Because why would you leave hundreds of thousands sitting there? I don't really want help from the government. I want to do it on my own.
Yeah.
A lot of that
Shit.
is
Go get your money, folks.
misinformation.
You're paying for it.
So we hear all the time, I don't qualify because my business is doing incredible. Actually, COVID was the best thing for me. And PPP2, that would have eliminated you from this. But that has nothing to do with the potential of qualifying here. There's generally 3 ways to qualify. One is a revenue reduction. That's black and white. Number 2, and it's not this and number 2, it's this or this, and that is a supply chain disruption. This affects, in our guesstimation, at least half, if not the majority of businesses out there have been stung by supply chain disruptions. So if you've had any supply chain disruptions, if you have actual goods, products being delivered to you, then you definitely need to look at this program. The third way is a direct shutdown order. And unless you're an essential business, which could still qualify under supply chain disruptions, most of business in Q2 and Q3 was shut down in 2020.
At least for 30 days or so.
So that's where for something on this program, you'll probably qualify for something. And we help them systematically go through those approaches in the process of qualifying with the link that you gave them. And then at the end of that, it is a estimate on what they may qualify for. And then it is asking to have them upload some documents. Very simple, but it might take you 10 minutes. And then we take about a week, and then they'll get the exact credit amount that they can review and approve.
Now, Eric was saying, hey, also tell them this, because a lot of people make that mistake. I said, well, you can just pop in if we forget something. Remember what it was?
Yeah, what was Eric saying on that?
I remember that too. I mean, to echo what you're saying, I think it's along the same lines on the amount of time it actually takes to fill it out. 5 to 10 minutes. That's what he was saying.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's nothing. It takes 5 seconds. Yeah. You can do it on a mobile device. Yeah. The ERC Specialists.com. If you can't spell, Google specialists and spell it. The the real ERC Specialist.com. If you just go to the real ERC Specialist.com, there's a whole form here. There's a whole button that says, find out if I qualify. Ask you a few questions. Takes you 5-10 minutes max. You read a few paragraphs, disclaimers, etc. But it's not, a gimmick. That's the crazy part. It's not, everybody should go see if they qualify. Worst case scenario, you don't. But again, if Eric didn't pester me 3 or 4 times, I'm like, dude, we don't qualify. We don't qualify. Mm-hmm. We don't qualify. Then we did qualify, to the tune of a decent chunk of change, where anyone listening to this that owns a business, had W-2 employees and was affected or not affected, I would still go take 5-10 minutes and see if you qualify. And if you do qualify, you upload a few documents, you get a DocuSign, you sign it, and 8 months later, you're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever it equates to. Now, I'd like for all the people that get this money to remember where you heard this. OBL, after you get your money, I don't know if it's illegal, but shoot me 5 G's or something. Send a brother back 5 G's.
At least a gift basket.
If you got more than 200 grand, send 10 G's. But hook a brother up. First thing I thought about when I heard about it is dude, you guys gotta I gotta tell, because here's the crazy part: leave it to the government to come up with an unbelievable program and then don't tell anybody. Why? Because I think secretly they don't want to give you the money.
I think they created this program with the CARES Act and just got ahead of themselves and thought that it would just get out there like PPP. In fact, with the infrastructure bill, it could have gone 2 ways. One proposal was to increase it and provide funding for education, because they knew no one was participating in this program. Or they could get rid of Q4, because they were in Q4 at the time, and just move on. And they chose the latter. And so they realized it was kind of a disaster of a program in terms of communication. There was no infrastructure of advocates for the business owner. With PPP, you had an infrastructure of lenders, right? If this was on a different tax form, you may have had an infrastructure of CPAs. Where this lies, who is going to tell you about it if not for you? Yeah,
but that's my point. I believe, I ain't saying it's true,
maybe
that it's planned that way. In other words, hey, we'll give $400 billion back to the business owners, so to help pass this law or this bill. And people that are voting and shit are like, okay, that's fair, but they didn't really want to give it out. That's why nobody's really being told about. How come you don't see it on the mainstream media? How come you don't see news channels going, folks, if you're in business,
that's true,
go here and check this out.
Sure.
The whole world should know about this shit. Should be on radio stations.
That's
should
true.
be on TV stations. There should be direct mailers. Miss an IRS payment, they'll send you a fucking letter. Well, how come they ain't sending you a letter about this? I've never got a letter. No one's told me about it other than, like I said, friends. What I've heard. And dude, everybody needs to hear about it.
Yeah, they do. And if we compare it to PPP, I think one of the reasons that information was disseminated so fast and rapidly is lenders were getting 1 to 5% of the PPP loan amount. They were definitely incentivized to make it their priority to tell all their clients about it. No one inherently is incentivized to make money off of this. It's a direct check from the IRS to the government. So, we have our fee, but we didn't exist. They didn't create that program. There was no infrastructure in place. I think that's a big reason too. There could have been some other reasons that you brought up there, and hey, I don't put it past the government, for anything like that. But
what do you get for your fee?
So we charge 15% of the found credit. We don't charge anything up front. If there was nothing found, if nothing is ever issued at the end of the day, again, we've never had a credit card on file. We've never asked for social security.
You get paid when they get paid.
Exactly. Yeah. And
For doing what though? Like filing, helping them, telling them?
Helping them qualify, find ways to qualify. For instance, we don't know how aggressive the IRS is going to be in actually auditing these. Because it's a new program. So we have a database of every single shutdown from the state, city, municipality, that if we need to actually tie that back to, help them qualify, we can do that. With supply chain disruptions, we can help tie that back to an actual direct shutdown order. We help them qualify, we help them file, and then in the event of an audit, we'll actually help represent them with the IRS in clarifying anything. We don't think that's going to be problem compared to the PPP that was fraught with fraud, that program. This program is a little bit harder to actually fraudulently get money from because it's an actual
you either qualify or you don't.
Yeah, exactly. And so, no, we go out of our way. And again, nothing up front. If we file something, we're very confident that's actually going to come back to you in a check.
Well, you guys are going to make a shit ton.
We're going to help a shit ton of people.
Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with making a shit ton.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity for
tell
everybody
people,
involved.
Yeah, I always tell people, when they ask me, how do you get rich? And I always say, dude, listen, if you just focus on helping people, the money comes. You always make a ton of money when you help a ton of people.
Agreed 100%.
So if you can just find a solution, find some help for people, you'll get paid.
Hey, we'll have to talk about the commission split too. I think you brought that up or something.
Hey, and I'll tell you right now, dude, 15% to these guys and $5,000 to me for telling you about it. That's chump change. And I won't even know if you got it. So I'm just working on the honor system. You just, if I see a check in the mail made out to Brad Lee, Lea, I'll know that you took advantage of it and you heard it from me. And hey, and people think I'm joking right now. You don't have to. It's an honor system. But if you feel the need, send a brother 5 G's. You could get back what? $1 million, $500,000? You could get back unlimited. Just depends on how much you paid for those qualifying months.
Yeah,
what's the biggest you've seen refunded so far?
I think we've had a 7 or 8.
Well, my neighbor,
million credit.
Guy is an attorney, has probably a dozen businesses, gas stations, and I think he was close to 8 million. And he had 2 CPAs look at it, CPA firms, and they couldn't finish it.
$8 million free money.
Yeah,
refund.
This is on one refund. And this is, for a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, it is life-changing. You hear 8 million and you might assume that they have plenty of money to work with. And that may or may not be the case. And it could save their business or it could just be great money on top. But for a lot of small businesses, this is the difference maker for them to keep the lights on and to actually say, let's continue with this business because we're still in the figuring it out stage, or just
growth mode.
Growth mode, yeah.
Reinvestment, reward, personal reward.
Yeah, I mean, we have people all the time when we're helping them. Man, I wish I can get this tomorrow, though. Like, there's a way I can get this tomorrow. I really need this right now, But like we talk about 6 to 8 months. There's friends that I talked to 6 months about this that are now just applying that wish they would have just started it. Because, like we talked about, don't want to pre-qualify yourself. Number one, takes 5 or 10 minutes. Don't get intimidated by the questions, because we're there to help you once you finish.
I saw the questions. They're not intimidating. They're not even complicated. Like just go to the website, click the button, see if I qualify, and answer the questions.
Yeah, and here we are, Josh and myself. We don't have decades of experience doing payroll taxes. Where we have maybe needed some support, we have found that support. Our director of fulfillment, she's on the board of the American Payroll Association. We have contracted with Mary Slauson, works with the IRS, been doing that for about 4 decades in understanding what they're going to want, how they view certain files. We're going to scale up and help, as Josh mentioned, maybe 100,000 businesses at the end of the day. So we wanted to make sure that we truly are the specialists in this particular credit.
The real ERC specialists.
Yeah, we are the real ERC specialists.
I like that.
Up-to-date information, questions that actually get you qualified, where you can feel good about actually filing the credit and know definitively whether you qualify or not. Those are all the things that we assist you with.
So, folks, I could sit here all day I was going to get into your backgrounds a little bit, but you know, people listening to this, it's like, you know, who gives a shit?
They
like,
don't care.
Where do I get my money? The ERC Specialists.
The real.
.com. Oh yeah, the real ERC. I got it written down here too. I'm an idiot. The real ERC Specialists.com. Click the button, fill out the link. Takes about 5 or 10 minutes. Even if you've heard of it and you don't you think you don't qualify, you may. Things have changed even recently. Fill out the questionnaire. It'll tell you roughly what you got coming back right on the spot. If you want to proceed, you click the proceed button. Anything, you know, less than that, guys, you need to go look in the mirror and ask yourself, why do you not like yourself? Why do you feel like you're not deserving of more and better? Because anyone that's listening to this that doesn't pull over, that qualifies. I mean, guys, if you're a single sole owner, didn't have any employees, don't bother. If you didn't have any W-2 employees, don't bother. But I don't care if you didn't make money, if you only had 2 employees. Like, dude, it could be $50,000 back in your hand, in your pocket. That's a big differential. That's a big difference maker. So to everybody listening, and not only that, this of all episodes, I want you to share out. Like, share to your friends and your family. Like, get this episode out there so the whole world hears about it. Tag people. You know, you should have been on Joe Rogan. He's the only one with a bigger reach than me. No, just joking. But dude, I'm gonna see what I can do to get the whole world to hear this. So do your part, Bomb Squad. Share this out and try to get everybody that you know to hear it. Not only that, but if I don't know if it's on that website, but anyway, share this out. Let's just leave it at that. Any questions? Hit me in the DMs. I'm keeping in touch with these dudes. You can find them on the website, their contact information. Until next time, keep it real. Thanks for coming.
Dropping bombs with the real Bradley. Subscribe now.